Folks, I know it's overwhelming sometimes when you walk into a garden centre and you're like, oh guys, builders, just help me. There's so many things to choose from, and what am I going to use? So we're going to try and make it easier for you today when you're trying to make decisions and options on how to cover the ground. It's pretty simple. The most obvious choice is lawn, or we can simply use alternatives. So here's one cool option. Large paving blocks, beautiful, they make a space seem larger and bigger, and then in between it, a firm favorite, I love its name, it's called Kyoto Dwarf. Now, when you go shopping for it, instead of buying it in the bags, try and buy it in the little trays. It goes much, much further. The great thing about Mondo grass is that it belongs to a family which you can divide. So, like grasses, similar to a perennial, you can literally grab bits of it, the tufts, open them up, and then plant them out. Also, the most amazing thing about this plant is that it grows in the sun or in the shade. So, like, you don't even need to think about it. You never have to cut it. It stays nice and neat. It never goes brown. And even if you've got traffic over it, it's still a really, really awesome option. Easy, practical, and it's here for a long time. A great option with covering up exposed spaces and even creating pathways is, of course, using gravel. It's become so popular. Why? Well, number one, you don't have to water it, okay? Number two, once you put it down there, it's pretty much set for life. And the other thing is, which is really, really important, is that gravel allows water to still drain into the earth. And that is really important. The other aspect about gravel that I really enjoy is this. When someone walks on it, you're going to hear it. So it's really, really good from a security aspect. Very important. If you are putting down gravel, folks, please remember to put down your weed guard, okay? That's the fabric that you get in big rolls. Put that down because, A, it means that your gravel is not going to get crunched and smudged into the mud. Terrible. Plus, you're not going to get weeds growing through it, which is also important. The other thing to consider when putting down gravel is always to have an edging. An edging just finishes it off, gives you nice firm lines, and really stops this, because gravel has the amazing way of jumping. And today we can literally get from the finest 5mm up to some really chunky guys like this that you can use as decorative or even practical. Other great ideas when looking at ground options is to think about putting herbs in between your pavers, whether it be pavers, whether it be slasto, or whether it even be bricks that you've used in a certain pattern. I love the fact that as you walk on them, all the aroma is simply just wafting up. Not only that, you can also pick it and use it. It looks cool, plus it's practical and it's edible. Another option for pathways or paving or any ground level options is to think about using slate. Now, guys, back in the 70s, this was all the rage, and then many of you ripped it all up and you threw it away, and now it's come back in, as everything does, even bell bottoms. I kid you not. So what do we need to do? Make sure you don't throw these things away. Let's upcycle and recycle them. All I've done is simply just pop it down, use the gravel around it so that I've got a good footpath. You could then take this and mesh it together, so you almost get a crazy paving look as well. The options are endless, and really from an artistic point of view and skill, you need kind of zero to get this right. Pathways are not only a functional aspect of our garden, but they also add an important design feature, remembering that they can lead you from one section of the garden into the other. We need areas to link, and this is what pathways do. Plus, the most important part is that they add amazing interest. Try and curve them where you can, or if it's a straight pathway, have something awesome at the end, like a beautiful pot or an amazing plant, so that your eye's drawn down it and you want to walk there. So guys, we've looked at some options of different applications of pathways. This pathway that we're standing on has been in my garden forever, and it's in a beautiful forested area, but needs a bit of a revamp, needs a bit of an uplift. So first up that I'm going to need to do is clean it up so we can actually see where the pathway is. Because right now, I'm not too sure myself. So let's get sweeping, fix it up, and then we're going to show you the magic. Guys, I've got a beautiful selection here of some shade-loving plants. Obviously, this is very foresty, it's quite soft and natural, and the idea about complementing the pathway that we have with the right kind of plants also makes this piece of concrete really stand out. So because it's really dark, we're wanting to use something that's going to lift it. So I'm looking for some variegated plants. I'm using this bromeliad. It's as tough as nails, really will grow anywhere. And I'm using this peperomia. Now, peperomia, although it's got a colored leaf, amazingly loves growing in the shade. It's actually a jungle plant naturally. So putting this in is going to do simply so well here. It stays nice and low and compact, and you get many different varieties of these. Then I'm using some ferns, of course, beautiful ferns that will soften it. And against it here, Blechnum gibbon, and this is the Brazilian tree fern. It doesn't get very big, but its new foliage always has this beautiful bronze red tinge to it, also lifting areas within dark shade. So first off, I want to show you the real important thing about why we shouldn't be kind of sweeping up the leaves and taking them away, because take a look here. This is the soil, literally on either side of this pathway. The leaf mold that falls, organic material, eventually will decompose, break down, and start forming compost. And that's why if you do have a pathway, don't lift up the leaves. Just simply put it straight into the garden beds, because that adds great nutrition into the garden. So let's get planting. Folks, remember when planting, whatever you do in the beginning is going to determine how well your plants are going to do. So we want a nice big hole, and this soil is just so soft and crumbly with all the organic matter that it really doesn't need much compost, but we're still putting it in. 1 or 2 spadefuls into the bottom of the planting hole, mixed with some fairy dust, of course the bone meal, which encourages the root development. Mix that together, pop the plant in, don't bury it too deeply, and then just firm that round the plant. And of course that beautiful leaf matter that was lying around, we scoop that all back because it acts as a beautiful mulch around the plants. And doesn't that look better? All it is, a bit of a sweep, a bit of a clean, putting in some good plants that lift the area. Look how nicely the bromeliad does. Because of the variegated leaf, the white, bang, just jumps out at you. And that against the peperomia, the lovely red, we've put the blechnum in the back, the soft fern on the edge, and then we balanced it out on either side. Remember that when you're working with pathways or anything from the ground up, you want to try and balance it. So we've got a bit of green and white there, we want a bit of green and white here. Not directly opposite each other, guys, because this you want to be quite soft and gentle and relaxed, like we're in a forest. So that's why it's not directly opposite, it's more to 45 degree. Likewise, the same with the tree fern. And there you have it. The best part about gardening is being able to water. And I love it. So enjoy, folks. Work with your pathways from the ground up. It really is important because a pathway has to lead somewhere.